So let me tell you a little bit about the New Jersey Family Engagement Hub. We are a centralized information hub for educators, families, and community partners. We work with these constituencies to create collaborations and build bridges on all things family engagement. We do this by providing tools and strategies such as our in person workshops and our online virtual offerings. We also work with these constituencies to empower our youth. We need to know what our youth need so that they continue to be successful both in school and out of school.
Thank you. That was Dr. Lanisha Maca From the SPAN Hub. And I am Rosie Grant with Patterson Education Fund. With me is Ms. Linda Reed, also with Patterson Education Fund. And we are also a community-based organization. Our mission is to stimulate community action for change so that Patterson Public Schools ensure that all Patterson children achieve high standards. While we are focused on Patterson, we realize that policies are being made at the state level and at the federal level that affect our children in Patterson. And so we have moved beyond Patterson with it remaining our focus, but to work on making sure that the Patterson voice is brought to the federal and state levels as well. So this work in particular is we are partnering with SPAN to bring you a series of parent and community engagement workshop through the hub. We always have agreements that we offer at our meetings. We ask that participants listen to each other with respect, maintain an open-minded way of being in the conversation, to suspend judgment and accept people as best you can, to practice curiosity, seek to understand rather than to persuade, also to practice discovery. We all have old assumptions that we're asking you today to let go of and look for new insights, especially if they're unverified assumptions. To be sincere, speak from your heart, be brief, go for honesty and depth, not for volume of content. To speak your own thoughts, reactions, feelings, and experiences, not those of others. We encourage people to share their own stories. To also not debate someone else's experience or argue with their statements, and to allow for silence. And then finally, it's not on here, but we hope that this is safe space. We cannot guarantee, and we will be recording, but let's make it a brave space where we can be honest and open without any repercussions. So just a thumbs up either on screen or with an emoji if you are good with those agreements. You can also unmute if that's easier and say yay or nay and let me know if anything needs to be added. Kristen, you're okay with them? Kyrie, are you okay with them?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful. So here's our check-in question. If college was free to everyone, what line of study would you pursue next? This is a place for you to introduce yourself. So tell us who you are, about your child, if you feel so moved, an organization, if you're connected with one, and then tell us what you would study if you could just go to school unlimited at no cost. So my name is Rosie Grant. I'm the executive director of Patterson Education Fund. I have two adult children and an almost 4-year-old grandchild. And if
And I
if
would like to
college,
take up
go ahead.
biomedical herbal sciences.
Wonderful. And Kristen, are you a parent?
I am.
Okay, great.
My son is on autism spectrum disorder,
Mhm.
and
Mm,
he's severe and he cannot talk. A, it really limits him in his life, and because he's limited in his life, I am simultaneously limited in mine as well.
absolutely. My heart goes out to you. Thank you for sharing that. I don't know what I would study next. I'm kind of a lifelong learner, and over the last several years since the pandemic, I have been deeply engaged in trauma-informed care and healing-centered engagement. I just took a course on youth mental health first aid so that I am certified now in that area. And that's probably the area that I would pursue if it was unlimited and free. Miss Reed, let me pass to you with some joy. Uh, your turn.
Okay. Linda Reed, Program Manager, Patterson Education Fund. Um, I'm not sure what I would study. Um, I probably would go back to Bible college and finish and get my master's in that.
Mm,
Yeah, I think I would do that. Um,
okay.
so, and I see Kyrie put hers in the chat.
Would you read it for us? I can't while I'm
Okay.
sharing.
Yes. Kyrie says she has an 18-month-old, and if college was free, she would study game design and cybersecurity next. Great
Awesome.
film. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All
Thank
right.
you all. So, what is the College and Career Track Workshop? We developed this workshop initially as a student peer-led workshop and found that adults wanted it as well. We had parents in Patterson who went back to school after learning to facilitate the college track workshop because we would have adults go in and teach the kids, and then the kids would teach their peers. So now it's a student and adult advocacy workshop to help us advocate for Patterson children and, of course, all New Jersey's children, in this case, to be college and career ready. We know that every child will not go to college, but when they get done with high school, they should be ready for college or ready to go into their chosen career, whether it be higher learning in whatever field they choose, a technical field, etc. They should be educated with their at their graduation point so that they have that choice and are not told, well, you're not prepared for college or you're not prepared for this career. So what we're going to do is learn from the experiences of some successful Patterson alumni. They took different paths. Our kids warm to it because sometimes they recognize them. They're still active in the community. And also because they look like them. And so they can see themselves following one or more of these paths. Our purpose, just a little more, we want all our kids to be ready for college or career when they graduate. We want them to know what college is like and how they can best prepare for it. And we want more people to become advocates for a high quality education. So we're going to use our knowledge. We're going to think about what questions we need to be asking about college, and we're going to begin to build an action plan. We're going to focus on asking questions, but we're not going to answer the questions because every situation is different. We might think about who you should ask to get your question. So I'm going to play a video and pause it for some conversation.
name is Orlando Cruz. I'm born and raised Pattersonian, and I'm currently the president of the Greater Patterson Chamber of Commerce. I'm also the president of the Tri-County Chamber of Commerce, and I'm the executive director of a local nonprofit, which is made up of property owners within the downtown Patterson Business District.
My name is Eileen Rosario. I am the Home Study Post-Release Program Director for a nonprofit organization who work in serving unoccupied minors who cross the border.
It's Karen Brown, and I am an attorney. I'm also the former Chief Municipal Court Judge for the City of Passaic and a former Municipal Court Judge for the City of Patterson, as well as I've held other positions in the community, such as the Passaic County.
I can't hear this lady well.
County Council.
So let me try to turn it up.
My name is Alvira Spencer. I'm a family service specialist with the Department of Child Protection and Permanency for the state of New Jersey. I am married. I have 3 adult children and actually 2 grandchildren. And I reside in the city of Patterson in the 1st Ward.
It was just always having an interest in working where I live. And it's always been a passion for me to be able to work in a place where I can give back to my community and also enhance that community in which I live in.
I worked at a nonprofit organization, and then I also volunteer at a local Catholic church as a youth leader, which really interests me in helping younger folks and being a counselor, which led me to get my master's in social work and be in the social service field.
So growing up as a child, I always had the passion for helping people. I loved advocating for people, and I was also a very sociable person. I remember growing up that my mother would always tell me that I would speak to everyone, even strangers, and that I loved all types of people. During my teenage years, my son developed a condition, and he had very severe behavior problems in school. And in order for me to understand my son's condition and his behavior, I decided to focus my education and pretty much my life on advocating for my son and also for children and families. My desire to advocate for families and children is very critical because I want them to be aware of the services in the community and also have the tools that they need to become self-efficient.
It was actually an incident that occurred during my freshman year at Rosa Parks School of Fine and Performing Arts. I was away at a drama competition, and the narcotics detectives decided to raid my house that day. They arrested my whole entire household, my 12-year-old brother, my mom, my dad. It turned out that my dad was selling drugs to support his drug habit. And I was a freshman, and I was left alone in my house for days. And my mom would call me from the jail. We were poor. We couldn't afford any legal representation. So she ended up pleading guilty to a crime that she really wasn't involved in. She was a high school dropout. She really couldn't read and write that well. And secondly, we were poor and we couldn't afford an attorney. And I felt helpless when I went to court to see my parents. And I said that I wanted to become an attorney so that I could make sure that people had adequate legal representation and would not have to go through the kinds of things that I experienced as a child and the kinds of things that my parents went through because of the fact that they were poor and couldn't afford adequate and quality legal representation.
Right out of high school, after graduating, I went to some college, had a baby. I had a son at a very early age, and decided to go to work and started working to support my family. Every opportunity, every job that I had at that time led me to another. And one thing always leading to another eventually led me to where I am today. Starting as a cashier in retail, then going into the banking industry. From banking began networking, which introduced me to what a chamber of commerce was. Working with small businesses, gave me the tools that I needed to be in the position of managing the business district here in the city of Patterson.
College was not in my mind because nobody in my family ever went to college. I thought that I couldn't afford college. My parents couldn't afford college. However, these three beautiful ladies at Patterson Education Fund convinced me that I was college material, assisted me in applying to college, and really pushed me. I started in the Passaic Community College. I did 2 years. Then from there, I went to Montclair State. And then I decided right after getting my bachelor's degree to go for my master's in social work. I was the first in my family to go to college, get a bachelor's, and also get a master's degree.
I enrolled into Passaic County Community College and I obtained my associate's degree in liberal arts. Afterwards, I enrolled into William Patterson University and I obtained a bachelor's degree in psychology with a minor in women and gender studies. Afterwards, I also enrolled into Rutgers University in New Brunswick and I obtained my master's degree in social work with my certification in domestic violence for women and children.
I knew that education was going to be my way out of poverty. And I also wanted to become an attorney. So 2 days after graduation from high school, I was off to college. And after college, I went straight into law school. I thought that I was going to be a public defender. And then I actually ended up interning in the prosecutor's office. I was a little bit torn as to what I wanted to do. And then this opportunity came up from Passaic County Legal Aid Society. They were actually looking for a person to participate in a fellowship program. I ended up getting the fellowship. I was one of only 14 in the entire country to get it. And it was a wonderful experience. I ended up being honored by the president of the United States at that time. And I got a lot of exposure and I got to meet a lot of people in the community, including Rosie and the members of PEF. And I ended up becoming involved in the community and I've gotten other opportunities after that as a result of being involved in meeting and networking with people and being provided with opportunities.
So I'll pause there and let's talk about it a little bit. What did you notice? Was there anything that stood out to you in the videos? So I'm going to call on you first, Linda.
I did. I noticed that that they all 3 of the 4 went to college. The one tried it, but found out that college wasn't for him because of his circumstances, and that's okay because, like you said, college is not for everyone to be successful. And yeah, and even thinking that it's not for them, but you never know, right?
Right. Kyrie, do you want to chime in?
I mean, I feel like everybody else already covered everything.
Okay. Thanks. For me, I noticed that they were ordinary people. Right? They're people like the rest of us going through life and facing challenges, be it incarcerated parent or a brother or a child who needed help or young teenage parents that they were just going through life and knew that they wanted to get somewhere in their careers, but really wasn't sure about it at the beginning until something triggered. And I also noticed that they all pursued a passion of some sort. It was something that drove them into the field that is now their careers. So that was really good. So welcome back, Kristen. Are you hearing us clearly now?
Yes, I can hear you, but I couldn't hear anyone on that video, whatever it was that you.
Wow, yeah, others heard it clearly. So we're going to go back to the video and hopefully it'll clear up for you next time. We'll see what happens. Share again and we'll watch a little bit more of the video and then we'll come back and talk about it.
did. And my family had always been very involved in what was going on in my life. Their influence really kind of kept me on the straight and narrow path. Even if I failed, that my family was going to have my back in taking care of me when I was moving on to whatever the next thing was. But unexpectedly, running into individuals in that career path, and I'll give you the example of my predecessor here at the Chamber of Commerce. He had been and always was categorized as just a guy from up county that really maybe didn't care too much for Patterson people, and I had the fortunate the benefit to work with him, work alongside him, understanding and seeing his passion for Patterson really showed me that it's really about the person and not about where they are and who they are and where they come from. It's about the love that they put into what they're doing at the moment. And that person really showed me that there's a lot more to this than what meets the eye. And him, seeing in me, just a kid from Patterson that, grew up here, allowing me to flourish in a position where, ultimately, the door is open. I can now come in and really show people what I'm made of, what I'm about.
Again, my former employers, Anna, Irene, and Rosie, they really helped me just get through college. Always reminded me that I could do it. And also my parents. I think I get emotional when I talk about my dad, but he helped me all along. He was there for me. He even paid my car payment when I wasn't able to, because he wanted me to finish school. So once I finished my master's program, I actually started working as a clinical social worker in a shelter in New York. I became the shelter director, one of the largest shelters in the Bronx. I worked there for 12 years. And my last supervisor, the vice president, before he left, he told me, "You are more than just this. You could do so much more." And I took that and ran with it. And I decided to take a chance on myself and apply for this new position. This is actually a new grant that came in December. So far, it's been a great experience. Even the smallest person that you could think of will be that person that will push you to get to where you should be.
I have my aunt. My aunt is very special. My aunt pretty much raised me. She's a registered nurse. So education was very important in a household. I also have my partner, who is my husband. I have my pastor. I have my close family, I have friends, and I also had so much of support from the community college, also William Patterson, and also Rutgers University. But most importantly, I want to acknowledge Patterson Education Fund for the important work that you guys do and all the advocacy skills that you help families with, including myself.
Well, first I would say it's all God. I am a walking miracle, I say. I really, really owe a lot to my teachers in the Patterson Public School System, specifically Rosa Parks High School at the time. They saw my talent and they helped me along the way. They helped me with my college applications. They drove me to orientation. They bought me care packages. They even bought me clothes. I
can't hear her at all. I just see her mouth moving.
Everything that I need.
We will share the slides and the video afterwards. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it then. But the rest of us are hearing them clearly, so I'm not sure how else to make it any better. So bear with us, but we will share it with you afterwards.
Allow yourself to be a product of your environment. I think we get caught up many times.
These are Patterson people, but we find that the stories are universal. And the point is to listen to who are the people who helped them, to turn our kids to people outside of the traditional roles that could be helpful. And sometimes even in Eileen's case, it was her parents, even though they had never been to college. In Karen's case, it was her teachers. In Orlando's case, it was his grandmother. And so when we do this with students and even in person with parents and caregivers, we stop and think about who are the people in our lives who can help us as we think about college and career. And it's usually not just the guidance counselor or just the college intake people, if you get that far, but it's the people in your lives who can help you with guidance and support. We teach a Right Question Project workshop, which we already did in this series, that talks about support, monitor, and advocate. And so where the supports are coming, this is abridged, so we can't do the whole thing, but where the supports are coming from is important as we encourage our young people to pursue college. So while they're Patterson, their stories are not unique to them and certainly not unique to Patterson.
Where we grow up, where we live, the people that are around us, about where we are in life currently. And I think you need to understand that you are not a product of your environment. In turn, you are who you are at the moment, and you are in control of what happens. Well, I grew up on the same streets as you. I went to the same schools as you. I'm a product of the Patterson Public School System, born and raised in Patterson, walked the same streets that you're walking now. And I am a living example of no matter where you are, if you are in control of your situation, you can make it in any environment that you are put in.
Never think you can't. Just try it and continue until you succeed. Failure is part of success. And don't be afraid of change. I think as individuals, we are afraid of change. We are accustomed to our environment, to the things that we know that we're good at. But at the end of the day, if you don't take that opportunity, if you don't make that change, you don't know where life could lead you.
Pick God first. You have to love yourself and definitely love others. I need you to stay focused. I need you to stay encouraged. And I need you to stay connected to people who are positive or who want to help see you grow. Don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid. But I need you to also take the opportunity to volunteer and make a difference in your community.
Number one, always strive to do your best in whatever you do, whether that be in the classroom, off the classroom. Have integrity, have confidence, and be committed and dedicated to being the best that you can be, number one. Number two, I would say, like my mentors would tell me, be a well-rounded person. You do want to get good grades. That's obviously key, especially if you want to go to college. Don't be afraid to stand out. Don't be afraid to be different. Volunteer. When the colleges look at you, they're not just looking at your grades. They want to look at you as a whole person. What else have you done outside of just getting good grades? Did you volunteer? Were you part of any organizations? Did you play any sports? I was involved in student government. I played basketball. I played softball. I volunteered at St. Joseph's Hospital. So when the colleges were looking at my application, you're not just looking at my GPA, because there's a lot of people that might have that same GPA. But how do you stand out? And thirdly, you have control over your life. It doesn't matter who your parents are or are not. Look at me. I tell kids all the time, if you can go into your refrigerator and get something to eat or put on a pair of clean clothes or a decent pair of shoes, you had it better than me. So if I can accomplish all of these things in my life with lacking basic necessities, then you can do it as well if you put your mind to it.
So as I said, the workshop itself is much longer, but we wanted to do that introductory piece, have you take a look at the video, and then there are some resources that I'm going to share. However, right now, I'd love to get your feedback on the pieces that we last saw and heard. Linda, you're unmuted. What did you notice? And what do you wonder, if there are some wonderings?
No wonderings, because I noticed that everybody's story was the same. Even though they were all different, their story was the same. Family supported them, teachers, schools, they got their support from everywhere. And they didn't give up. They didn't give up. Like Karen said, she could have went in the direction of her father, but she wanted something better for herself, and she strived to get there. She didn't let I don't have stop me. Mm-hmm. And that's what stood out mostly. They didn't let their fears stop them, because sometimes with young people, college is a scary thing. So it was comforting to know that their advice is just don't give up. Invest in yourself.
Sure thing. I noticed that, and I also noticed, as you said before, they're all successful now, regardless of the paths that they took.
Right.
And they turned to different people for support. But also, interestingly enough, they're all advocates. They're all doing that advocacy work. Eileen for homeless and abused women, Orlando for the business community and startup businesses and better circumstances in business. Karen's a lawyer, so obviously she's an advocate for her clients. And Elvira is a social worker, working with the community. So really interesting that through their experiences and following their passion, they got to a place where they're advocating for adults or children that are experiencing the same as they did or might have experienced.
Right.
So those are some of the things that strike me from that video. I have one more slide to share with you. Because there are few participants, the workshop is going to be shorter, so it won't be a full hour today because we're not having the full discussion that happens when we have a lot of people participate. However, I hope this will be useful to you and you can look back at it and perhaps share it with someone at some point. And we'll certainly offer it again. So let me share. And now I want to go back to the slides. At the end of the slides, when you get them, you will see that we have put some resources in here for you so that as you start thinking about college, you can access these resources and see how they help you. So there are some financial aid sites. I do want to say that financial aid is not just government loan and grants. You should absolutely first fill out the FAFSA. That's the free application for support. If anyone is charging you to fill out the FAFSA for you, you should say no. It's a simple application, and there are a lot of nonprofit, community-based agencies, churches, etc., who can help you if you need that help. And the site there that you can go to access it is the student aid government site. That's the first one here. There's also FastWeb, because scholarships are a part of financial aid, and FastWeb will help you if you put in your interests, your background, etc. It'll help you identify possible scholarship sources. Also remember to look at community organizations, houses of faith, sororities, fraternities, NAACP. There are lots of organizations that will offer scholarships depending on your area of study or your career field. And then financialaid.org. There are some sites we're offering also to help you with goal setting. It's important that you figure out what your passion is, what it is you want to do, what do you want to be, what does success look like for you in the end. And that might change as you go along your journey, and that's just fine. But you need to have a starting point. And so Idealist or Jersey Cares or Career One Stop are all places that can help you to figure out that passion, to figure out, if you don't already know, what field you want to pursue for college or career. There's also Common application, which will go to several colleges, and that's at commonapp.org. And then more scholarships from Chegg.com, TikTok. It can have some ideas around scholarship as well. And so we've put that link in here for you. The thing to remember is don't be afraid. Pursue your dreams and look for help. Help is available to you. And don't limit who you ask for that help, because sometimes it's not financial help, but it's moral support, it's information and knowledge, it's wisdom that can all help you along your journey to college and career. So Kristen's back. I'm going to let Kristen in. But we are wrapping up. I would love to hear from you if you have any feedback or any information to share with anyone who might be watching this recording later. So Linda, do you have anything that you'd like to share?
Yes, I would like to say that this college track was helpful with my granddaughter who went to college. She didn't ask us to help fill out any paperwork, but she did take the when we were doing it in the high schools, and she would go to the workshop, and she took it and she ran with it. When she needed help, she would ask, but for the most part, the information was there, and she had gotten the guidance to know where to go and what to do. And I think those workshops, and this is why I said these workshops are very important, because schools are so large that kids sometimes say they don't get a chance to even see their guidance counselor maybe once or twice the whole year. But to have something that they can go to easily, on their own, it helps.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Miss Linda. So with that, I want to thank you all for participating. Thank you for watching. And I look forward to seeing you at our next workshop. Enjoy the rest of your day.